she can communicate with me that she does want to ask something. Declarations of interest. I haven't received any declarations of interest prior to the meeting. Does anyone have any declarations of interest that have occurred to them since the papers went out? No, thank you very much. So if we move on then, and say the main purpose of the sole purpose of the meeting is to approve the accounts and the annual report, but I'd first like to invite Marion Wynne-Jones, the chair of the audit committee, which received the annual accounts at the audit and assurance committee meeting earlier this morning. Marion, would you like to give us feedback from the audit committee?
Diolch, Chair, and I can confirm indeed that the Audit and Assurance Committee did indeed meet this morning, and it's my pleasure to report a very positive position. And the committee agreed to endorse the annual accounts for 23-24 for approval by the board, and that includes the financial statements and letter of representation. And we noted also for assurance Audit Wales's ISO 260 report. Audit Wales issued an unqualified audit opinion on this year's accounts, pending the provision of a signed letter of representation. It's pleasing to note that the organisation has met all its statutory, financial and administrative targets, hitting also this year's accelerated target date. There were no trivial uncorrected misstatements in the accounts, and it was reported that this audit process this year had been more effective and more efficient than ever before, assisted by both organisations implementing the joint improvement actions agreed last year. And on behalf of the committee, I would like to extend my thanks to our Executive Director of Finance, Claire Osmondson-Little, and her extensive team at DHCW for the significant amount of work and effort that's brought us to this positive position. And the committee would also like to put on record our appreciation for the collaborative approach undertaken by both Audit Wales and DHCW. So just to end, for the record then, it's my pleasure to endorse on behalf of the committee to the board the annual accounts for 23-24 to be approved by the board for submission to Welsh Government. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch, Marion. So before I ask people to approve it, I'll hand over to Claire Osmondson-Little, the Executive Director of Finance, to present an overview of the annual accounts, and at that point I'll take any questions and be asking the board to approve the annual accounts. Over to you, Claire.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Marion, for the support and of the committee earlier today in along with the Welsh Audit Office and the finance team presenting the results. So actually there isn't much more I'd like to add other than the fact that the detail of the accounts is appended in the notes. It's made up of 5 key summary statements and 56 pages of published notes accompanying them. It also highlights that we have achieved our statutory financial duties, and that means that we have present our accounts with a revenue underspend of £307,000 and a capital underspend of £19,000. We achieved our public sector pay requirement and our cash balances were within tolerance at the year end. And other than that, the only other point to note is the feedback we've had in the completion of the accounts and the timeliness that we've done it in this financial year. I cannot believe actually this is our 3rd set of public set of accounts. And again, an unqualified and complimentary feedback from both internal audit and the audit committee. Alongside that, there is also the letter of representation, which we will need to sign to submit the accounts later to Welsh Government in order to meet the July the 15th deadline. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Claire. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, so I think on behalf of the board, Claire, I'd like to reiterate our collective appreciation for you and your team for pulling the accounts together, but of course also the whole organisation for enabling you to pull together a set of balanced accounts, because it's been a tough year, and we've contributed a considerable amount of savings to the to assist and support the wider NHS. So congratulations to you and your team for putting it all together, and congratulations to everyone in the organisation for enabling you to put it together and to end up where we are. So people happy to approve the accounts? Okay, thank you. Is it back to you now, Claire?
I think the other part on the agenda is the
Annual.
We've done the annual accounts, is the statement of the letter of representation, which we will now agree to sign, that show that we've undertaken accounts with they reflect a true and fair view of the position as at the financial year end of the 31st of March.
Okay, nothing further from you. You need to.
No.
Okay, thank you. And I noticed Nathan is observing as well. So some thanks to Nathan and the team for working with us through this process. So if we then move on to the second and final item on the agenda, which is the approval of our annual report, which sets out all the work we've done through the year. And I'll ask Chris Darling, the board secretary, to introduce the report. Chris, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'm just going to run through the process and then what we're approving. Before I do so, I just want to make the board aware there's a typo on page 121, 22 and 23. It refers to the 2022-23 financial year. We have updated that. It now reflects 23-24, and David Salway highlighted a point that we've amended as well. So a couple of minor changes, but nothing significant from what was in the information that was circulated. And on that note, just want to thank everyone for taking the time to go through the annual report. It is a big document, but it really helps having as many eyes looking at it as possible. So just to start off, can I thank everyone who's been involved in the annual report? It really is an organisational wide effort to bring it to the point it is today, where we're putting it forward for approval. Really grateful for everyone's input. We have a responsibility to submit the annual report to Welsh Government at the commencement of the new financial year. So now, and in developing the annual report, we have adhered to the guidance set out in the manual for accounts. So the annual report included in the pack includes the performance report, the accountability report, and the financial statements Claire's just talked through. The performance report provides information on DHCW's objectives, strategies, and the principal risks that we face, and has an overarching requirement to be fair, balanced, and understandable. So that's what we're signing off as a board today. The accountability report is designed to meet the requirements of Welsh Government and includes the key elements from the guidance, including the corporate governance report, the remuneration and staff report, and a National Assembly for Wales accountability and audit report. Just to make the board aware, we have over the last 2 months, as audit committee members will be aware, been in discussions and had a number of iterations back from both Audit Wales, internal audit, and Welsh Government. We've addressed all the points raised through that process, and they've been incorporated into the final annual report that we have today. We are required to submit a single unified document. However, as board members will be aware, as was the case last year, we have developed the annual report in HTML format in addition to a PDF document. So the PDF document will be submitted and laid at the Senedd. If approved today, we will then promote the annual report through the HTML format as we did last year. And just to note that this did prove successful in terms of engagement and communicating who we are as an organisation and what we do last year. And we've built on that this year with a number of additional click-throughs and information included within the annual reports. So the annual general meeting to promote both the annual report and the accounts is set for Thursday, the 25th of July, and we will promote that as our public meeting open to questions from members of the public and wider stakeholders. So, Chair, I'm asking the board to formally approve the annual report, including each of the elements I've just run through. And if approved, it will be signed by yourself as Chair of the board and Helen as the accountable officer.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone, any comments or questions? And thank you for those people who've pointed out the minor typos. Helen.
Yeah, just to add my thanks really to Claire and Chris and their teams and the teams in the wider organisation. I think that the reading of the annual report and of course the accounts, it's a good read. It's an easy read in terms of being able to describe the full year that we've had. So I just want to pass on my thanks to both the leads and the wider organisation, because a lot of people involved in actually making that a success. So thank you.
Thank you, Helen. Marilyn.
Just wanted to add a comment I said earlier on about what a good document it is, and thanks for all the hard work. And actually, I just think that we should make more opportunities to promote it when we do collaborative events, because I think there's so much good in there, and having the HTML version as well is something to be commended. So I think that it's great, but we should promote it even more than we do currently.
Absolutely, Marilyn. Thank you very much. Okay, and if I can then add on behalf of the board the appreciation, first, obviously, to the people who put it together, but it is a record of all the work that the whole organisation has done, and there wouldn't be any to write in an annual report if the organisation wasn't doing a huge amount of work and making a huge amount of progress. So again, thanks to those who put the report together, and appreciation to the whole organisation for giving you something to put in the report. Can I then ask if people are happy to approve the DHCW annual report 23-24? Thank you all very much. If I move then on to the final item, any other urgent business? I have had no urgent business communicated to me, and I very much hope there isn't any. Thank you. And then finally, as people be aware, the date of the next meeting is Thursday, the 25th of July, and we will also be holding our annual general meeting towards the end of the afternoon on that day. So thank you all very much. I always used to say, if you've got an annual meeting like this, which lasts more than 20 minutes, then you've probably got problems. So thank you all for taking us through that very quickly, the people who presented, and have a good day, everyone.